Hey, this is Harley from Rumic World. Our new YouTube video is going to be focusing on the Ranma 1/2 memorial book. This is the art book, the Japanese edition, and then we're going to talk about the English edition that was published by Viz. There's quite a bit of differences between the two, and we'll get into that. I'll start off by talking about the Japanese edition. This still has the obi, which is this wrap around the bottom. You just take that off so you can get a better idea of what the cover looks like. On the back it has an advertisement for Ranma 1/2 Volume 38. This is from 1996. This was originally published June 20th, 1996. The final volume of Ranma 1/2 was published just a month before that. So this was originally published to celebrate the ending of the manga and to collect all of Takahashi's artwork that she'd done for the manga. Not all of it, obviously, but quite a lot of it. So we'll just start by talking about the interior. One of the kind of key things are these illustrations. Each of these were newly done for this volume. We see Ranma, Akane, Shampoo, and then Ukyo. And the cool thing about this is that it's a fold-out poster that has every character from the series on it, organized by seasons of the year: spring over here, then summer, into winter, and autumn on the left-hand side. These have every character from the manga, all the very minor characters clearly labeled at the bottom. This was a big treat for a lot of American fans that picked this book up in '96. This was still a good 6 or 7 years before the manga ended in America, so a lot of these characters had yet to be introduced here, so it was sort of had a lot of spoilers, I guess you could say. The interior is just filled with lots of great color illustrations. One of the things that I want to talk about that is different between the Japanese volume and the American English volume, they both have the same color illustrations. The difference is that, as you can see right up here, the Japanese version clearly says when the illustration was published and where it was originally published. As we can see here, these were from Shonen Sunday. This is from a calendar. This is the November-December page of the 1989 Ranma 1/2 calendar that she did. So lots of all that information was left out of the English version, the Viz version. And then here we have her author comments about some of the selected illustrations. When Viz published them, as we'll look at in here really quickly, they put those all together on one page. This is how they treated the calendar. Not quite as nice. They did it on individual pages here. Not quite the same effect. It's the Japanese version. Then we have these new illustrations that they left intact. Here are the author comments. This comment in particular I want to talk about. It says, during the second season, I finally got to the point where I could really draw boy type Ranma. The translations in this are admittedly a bit clunky. They don't list who did the actual translations of the English book. It was edited by Julie Davis, but there's no translator provided. But this is sort of unusual, this second season reference. In the original Japanese version, it mentions Rinsai ni Kaimei, which is the second point of serialization. It doesn't say season. It's sort of vague in itself. But this illustration, if we look at the Japanese version, it clearly says that where it came from was Shonen Sunday 1987, volume 37. This is, which I happen to have here, this is the original magazine where it was published. And this is not the second season, but the second chapter ever published, the second volume. So that would probably be a better translation. Here we can see the illustration in its original context. So there's just some sort of translation, not errors I wouldn't say, but it was obviously translated by someone that didn't completely understand the original context that some of the illustrations, some of the information was provided in. So this is the original second chapter with the color artwork. Obviously none of this stuff gets collected anywhere. But just getting back to the art books again, The English version contains, again, all of the color artwork that was used in the Japanese book with her comments, which are all excellent things to have. Any fan would love to have those. All this is also in the Japanese volume. And then it also contains, here towards the end, the romance relationship chart. Very handy, very detailed information about all of the suitors, male and female, Ranma had throughout the series. Kodachi and Shampoo and Tsubasa and Ukyo. Then we have his rivalry chart. Both of these are also in the Japanese volume. Again, some name translation issues. Some of these characters had not appeared. They were still years and years away from appearing. So some of their names are romanized a bit oddly. Ryo Kumon instead of Ryu Kumon. Saffron down here in the corner. Kima, Koruma Masala. That's not quite the way that they eventually used those names. Just very minor sort of nitpicky things. Then they have the interview with Takahashi that was done for the original Japanese book. This English volume was published in July, I believe it was July 2003. So the original Japanese was 2006. So quite a bit of, I'm sorry, 1996, and then 2003. So quite a bit of time difference between the two. But now I want to talk a little bit about what was left out of the English book, which makes the Japanese book more of a sort of in-demand kind of item for fans. Some of you may see a duplicate of this cover with a blue background. That's the second edition of this book from 2003. All the interior content is exactly the same, except it'll have a blue cover instead of a white cover. But some of the things that they left out, again, the dates of what each illustration, where they were originally published. But then they have really interesting things like this. Some of Ranma, male Ranma's most significant moments with commentary. The same sort of thing for female Ranma, major moments throughout the series that dealt with Ranma in his female form. Again, with various commentary. Lots of black and white illustrations, not just color here. This is a really interesting timeline of Ranma's life. This is 10 years before the series started. Then it goes to roughly 6 years before, which is when he met Ukyo. Then we have just a short time before is what this section indicates. This is when he visited Jushinkyo, when Ryoga also fell into Jushinkyo. The Dragon's Whisker, etc. All those sort of things. All of this stuff is left out. This is one of my favorites. This is just a timeline of Ranma's day when he wakes up at 6:30 in the morning, trains with Genma. His school day, it goes through that all the way up to when he goes to bed at 11 o'clock at night. Again, all of this was unfortunately left out. I guess Viz wanted to, again, it was just a lot of translation work, and a lot of this, the imagery and things had not yet arrived in the United States, so they didn't want to have to translate all of these word bubbles. That's my guess, anyway. Here we have Ranma's most embarrassing moments with little heads to show how embarrassed each scene was when he had to confess his love to Akane is his most embarrassing moment based on this scale. Again, none of this has to do with... Takahashi didn't write any of this. It's just editorial commentary. When he had to deal with the horse here, naked photographs. There's three heads of embarrassment. Things like that. Then, let's see, what else do we have? Various Jushinkyo springs, locations, all of that kind of things. And then, of course, character moments, best character moments, things like that. So I would really recommend picking up the Japanese version. The English version is great, but the Japanese version is far superior in terms of content and everything. So I hope that provides some enlightenment about the differences between the two books. They're both still readily available, so I hope you'll go out and pick these up.